Hello, I'm Mohsen Jamal and you watch Afghan News. Germany will keep troops in Afghanistan after NATO forces leave the country at the end of 2014. German Defense Minister Thomas de Maizière told the Bild am Sonntag paper in an interview published on Sunday. Troops remaining would concentrate on the training of Afghan forces and they would also be sufficiently armed so as to be able to defend themselves. But it won't be about having troops for combat, said de Maizière. Berlin currently has 5,350 soldiers in Afghanistan, a number of which will reduce to 4,900 as Germany starts withdrawing its forces ahead of NATO's 2014 deadline for the transfer of security control to Afghan forces. After the US and Britain, German soldiers are the third largest NATO troop contingent in Afghanistan. A NATO soldier has been killed in a blast in eastern Afghanistan, the NATO-led International Security Assistance Force said in a statement. The coalition did not provide the exact location of Sunday's incident or the nationality of the soldier. The casualty brings the number of foreign troops' death toll this year in Afghanistan to 535. There are about 130,000 foreign troops in Afghanistan fighting insurgents and are scheduled to leave the country by the end of 2014. Pakistan's foreign minister has told her United States counterpart the cross-border airstrike on military outposts in northwest Pakistan is not acceptable. Hinara Bani Kohar spoke with United States Secretary of State Hillary Clinton Sunday morning, telling Clinton the attack Saturday that killed at least 26 Pakistani soldiers and wounded 14 others demonstrated a complete disregard for human life, adding that the attack has sparked rage in Pakistan. Pakistan retaliated by shutting down all NATO supply lines through its territory to Afghanistan and ordering the United States to vacate an airbase in southwestern Balochistan province within 15 days. Pakistani Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani and top military and government leaders said Saturday the Pakistani government will revisit and undertake a complete review of all programs, activities and cooperative arrangements with the United States and NATO. U.S. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton issued an unusual joint statement Saturday expressing their deepest condolences for the incident in Pakistan's border region and stressed they would press for an immediate investigation by NATO. NATO spokesman General Carson Jacobson said Afghan and coalition forces were operating in the border areas of eastern Afghanistan when a tactical situation prompted them to call in close air support, and it was likely that coalition airstrikes caused Pakistani casualties. In Islamabad, United States Ambassador Cameron Monteiro was summoned to the Foreign Ministry to explain the incident. Iran could target installations in Turkey that are part of a planned NATO missile shield in any future conflict, a senior military official said on Saturday, upping the rhetoric against its neighbor with home relations have soared in recent months. Amir Ali Hajizada, head of the Revolutionary Guards Aerospace Division, said that in case of a threat, they will attack NATO's missile shield in Turkey and then they will follow other aims. Tehran has made clear its displeasure at Turkey's agreement in September to deploy a NATO missile early warning system, which it sees as a U.S. ploy to protect Israel from any counterattack should the Jewish state target Iran's nuclear facilities. Once warm relations between Iran and Turkey have been strained this year due to the missile shield and Ankara's outspoken criticism of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's violent crackdown on popular unrest. Finance ministers from the Arab League have agreed on a draft plan for a package of economic sanctions against Syria, including the suspension of commercial flights to the country in dealings with the central bank. The decision came after a meeting of the League's Economic and Social Committee in Cairo on Saturday night. Its recommendations will now be passed to the full Arab League for consideration. The organization had set a Friday deadline for Damascus to allow rights monitors into the country, but the deadline passed with no firm commitment from Syrian officials. The sanctions package also calls for Arab states to freeze the overseas bank accounts of Syrian key officials. Syrian Foreign Minister Walid al-Maalim criticized the decision in a letter to the Arab League, accusing it of trying to internationalize the conflict in Syria. Mohammed al-Baradi, Egyptian presidential candidate and leading political figure in the country, has said he will stop his bid he will drop his bid to be head of state if the country's military rulers allow him to become the interim prime minister, his office said. El-Baradi, who met earlier on Saturday with the head of the ruling Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, said he was ready to renounce the idea of being a candidate in the presidential election if officially asked to form a cabinet. Protesters in Cairo Tahrir Square demanding that the army step down from power have repeatedly proposed El-Baradi to lead the transition to democratic rule. El-Baradi said he was willing to respond to the demands of the youth of the revolution and the political forces calling for a national salvation government that represents all the national forces. His statement comes amid political upheaval with anti-military rallies threatening to eclipse Monday's parliamentary elections, the first since Mubarak was ousted in February. Yemen will hold presidential elections on February 21st in line with a power-sharing deal the country's president signed earlier this week, according to the local media. The deal, which President Ali Abdullah Saleh signed in Riyadh on Wednesday, called for presidential elections within 90 days, which originally been scheduled to take place in 2013. Under the terms of the deal, Saleh also handed over power to his deputy, Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi, though he retained the honorary title of president. Hadi made the announcement on Saturday about elections. Saleh, in return, would receive